Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to the channel, or welcome back to the channel. We are the Mile High Property Brothers. Today's super fun, definitely informative. I'm not sure if we've done this one before, but we're gonna do it now.
Yes.
We're talking about city or suburb. Where should you live when it comes to Denver? What's best for you?
That's right. We're gonna help you guys find out. Let's check it out. What's up, guys? I'm Eli Schmidt. This is my partner, Will Grimes. And if it's your first time checking out our channel, you're gonna wanna hit that subscribe button, and don't forget the notification bell too, because we drop a new one of these videos every Tuesday, and every Thursday we tell you everything there is to know about moving to or living in the entire Denver, Colorado area.
100%, and we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado, which means just as much as we love making these videos, we would love more help with those real estate needs. The number that's popping up below, we are the guys to answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to. But with that being said, let's dive into it. And what better way? Like, we were downtown not too long ago, instructing our event. We had an all-day workshop. It was awesome.
Yes.
We had a couple hundred realtors, 120 or so realtors like show up, had a great time with it. But while we were down there, topics of discussion were created as far as like when it comes to Denver, like, is living in the city better, is suburb better? And we had a lot of great conversations that sparked from that, so we figured why not give that to you guys and just give you some perspective on, what is the difference? And just to give you some context, we're gonna be talking about when it comes to, city living or suburb living, we're talking about like all city of Denver, not just like the heart of downtown Denver, not just Lodo, but we're talking about Highlands, Sunnyside, Wash Park, and Lodo and Rhino and all that good stuff. But just giving you guys a feel for what that is, pros and cons, or just things to think about. And then your suburbs, which is more like your Southeast Auroras, Highlands Ranch, Littleton, Arvada, Thornton.
Yes.
Things like that, right? So just to get some context as far as like how direct and then how outskirt we're gonna get.
And also, just to kind of give you guys some insight as to our personal experiences to what we have with the majority of our clients, Denver is not one of those places that, hey, if you don't live in the city of Denver, then your house ain't worth nothing, right? This isn't one of those cities. Our channel is called Living in Denver, but for the most part, I would say the majority of people that are moving to Colorado, they do end up living in more of the suburban areas, the suburban cities outside that constitute the Denver metro area, the Auroras, the Arvadas, the Littletons, the Parkers, the Castle Rocks. That's where the majority of people tend to end up. And I think there's a few reasons for that. One of them being one of our first bullet points, and that's really the commute and the traffic patterns that you see coming into Denver. Because Denver is pretty much in the center of the state, it's surrounded by all of the suburban metro cities that are there. It's usually just a quick 20 to 30 minute drive to get into the city of Denver, which makes it just really accessible for a lot of people.
We say it all the time. If you're 45 minutes outside of like downtown Denver, like you're in Bennett. That's far. That is far. There's so much unincorporated that's here. So much room to grow. But again, the commute is so easy to get in and out of. And I'm not sure about like other states. I wonder if it's similar where you guys are at. But when people like, oh, hey, where are you from? Or hey, where do you live? Oh, we live in Denver. Like I don't say Southeast Aurora or Castle Rock, Colorado. Hey, we live in Denver. And I think that, even like folks that aren't from here, that once they live here, they say that. But if you're talking to like a local in Denver and someone's like, oh, hey, where do you live? Then it's like, oh yeah, hey, we're out in Highlands Ranch. But when it comes to like, if you're at the airport or out of state or wherever it may be, and you're meeting someone and small talking, or you're seeing family you haven't seen in 5 years, like, oh, cool, what's new? Oh, we moved to Denver. You don't necessarily say like, we moved to Highlands Ranch. I think in some states that I've heard from some friends is like, they'll say things like, we moved to California. I don't know if they say we moved to LA. Oh yeah, hey, we moved to California. For Colorado, it's like, we moved to Denver, unless you really are like up in Boulder. Or some of the mountains. But the commute is phenomenal. So whether you guys are north of the city, south of the city, east of the city, west gets a little bit more convoluted because you are in the mountains. So there's only so many ways to just make highways and byways that let you commute back into the city for obvious reasons. And even with those, it's still, believe it or not a bad commute. But either way, it just gives you guys the freedom to have more space, be in the suburbs, have some great school districts, some school districts of your choice. And just like a lot of people go and visit the mountains in Colorado, they don't necessarily have to live in them. I feel like you say, a lot of people don't need to live in the heart of Denver to use Denver for what it is.
Yes, now the other big point that we see, and I would say this is one of the biggest differences, and that is the overall type and style of homes and yards that you're gonna get. So when you're in the city of Denver, the majority of homes homes that are built there were built in the 1940s to 1950s and 60s. You've got that little spread there, you know, right in the middle of the 1900s, where that's when Denver's really being built and developed. So unless you've had a home that has been scraped or torn down and rebuilt, chances are you're going to be living in a home that was built within the 1950s, 1970s. And that means smaller yards, smaller rooms overall, and just, you know,
smaller ceilings,
shorter ceilings. Yeah.
Now, Wash Park does have some like pretty good size, like what we call bungalow style homes out here. I don't know if my mom coined that or if that's actually like a term, but I remember when we'd be driving to Wash Park or something as kids, my mom would like, oh, there's another bungalow. That was my mom's favorite home were these bungalow homes. And they're huge, and they've got big basements to them, but I will say, like, the basements have shorter ceilings. Traditional ceilings, so what the height was back in those days. And then, like, the ceilings, even on your main floor levels and your main rooms that you have throughout the home are so small. It is pretty popular as far as remodeling. These old bungalows and some of the old homes, you've got some great style like brick to them. Colorado has really good soil compared to like just across the board from other realtors across the country. So things last here. We don't have a ton of like foundation issues or wherever it may be. So even if you are buying an older home, they do pretty darn well out here in Colorado. And like that brick lasts forever. So it's not so much like whether the home's gonna last or not, whether it's a good buy or not. It's more so, are you having to tear walls down because you like open concept, or you like taller ceilings in the basement, or maybe like a bigger garage, things like that. And some things, like depending on the type of build, they're just not necessarily an option. So it really just comes down to like, hey, do you like that type of established, sophisticated feel per se, or like the old Denver feel, or are you looking for something more grandiose?
And this applies to the neighborhood as well. So when you go into, you know, Denver neighborhoods, you're gonna see rows and rows and blocks of homes all stacked in a nice pretty row, right? They're gonna be on an average lot size in Denver is just over 6,000 square feet. So not the biggest lots out there, but you're gonna find rows of homes, and there are a lot of people that they do want a little more space, or they want to back to open space, or they don't want neighbors on either side of them, or they want to be on a corner. And if that's you, then going to the outside surrounding city suburbs might be a better choice for you.
Yeah, more traditional lot and block per se, as far as like in the heart of Denver, like straight east and west and north and south style streets. Everybody backs up to everybody, even if you have a corner house, right? And if you have a corner house in that area, like you might be by like a street that's a little bit busier. So if you happen to be a corner lot and you're right next to like 17th, well, even though 17th doesn't sound like a big deal, it's one of the major roads that goes into downtown for everybody that lives more toward like North Aurora or City Park.
Anywhere east of Denver.
Like Martin Luther King area, Park Hill area. Like when they commute down into the city, they can use I-70 or they can use 17. So depending on where you're, even like 7th. Phenomenal houses.
6th and 7th.
But it gets so busy with people commuting in and out to like the to the zoo, Natural History Museum. Like you just have to understand that. And that leads us to our next point. As far as like proximity to everything in the city. You could be around some things that you like. Maybe you're right next to some things that you don't like when you're so close proximity to everything right in the heart of Denver. And the reason why I bring that up is for that example, right? So if people are going to a Bronco game on Sunday, the east side of Sloan's Lake, there are 6, 8, 9 blocks by like 4 or 5, 6 blocks that are just past the stadium, where, you know, people park a lot and then they walk over to the stadium because they don't want to pay $60 or $40 for a parking spot. Some people actually rent out their driveway and let people park in their driveway for $20 or $25 during the game. Now, if you're taking advantage of it and you're cool with it and you're meeting new people, great. You could also love that area, but depending on what part of Sloan's Lake you're on, you could also like, hey, I'm not renting out my driveway, but all of my neighbors are, and then whoever's not, like, there's no law against people just parking in front of your house on public roads, like these public residential roads. So like that can cause some things there. Or you could be in South Park Hill, and depending on how close you are to Colorado Boulevard, a lot of people park there in the spring and summer because of everyone going to the Natural History Museum and the zoo. Now that has come down a little bit because they put this phenomenal parking garage at that location.
At the zoo?
At the zoo and the Natural History Museum. They have like a 4-level parking garage that goes underground, which is awesome. However, some people just don't like to go into the heart of that. They're still parking in those neighborhoods. So again, proximity wise, you could be right close to some commercial spots or whatever it may be, or just some spots you don't care for, and it's right across the street. So we just have to be, you know, aware of those things versus like sometimes when you get out into like the suburbs, well, hey, you're in Southeast Aurora, you're in Castle Rock, Collins Ranch, like there's not necessarily any commercial thing happening right there where like all of your parking for that, you know, area, or your kids can't be walking down the sidewalk or riding their bikes with you without you feeling like a lot's going on. Definitely a benefit per se, or I guess just a change of vibe when it comes to like the suburb area. So even if you do have that phenomenal home or you love the feel of Denver, it's like, hey, do we really want to live and maybe be subjected to some of that versus, hey, could we visit and make the commute to Denver?
of the other biggest things that we get questions about, this is schools, okay? The schools in city of Denver are going to vary greatly from the schools that are in the surrounding cities.
Correct.
Okay, now you guys have heard us talk about the top 5 most popular school districts here in Colorado, and in no particular order, it's roughly Jefferson County, Littleton, Boulder County is number 1, Cherry Creek schools, and then Littleton.
Correct.
If I didn't say that already.
He didn't say Denver.
I did not
is
say
what
Denver.
he's getting at.
Yes, yes. Now you'll see some good reviews for elementary schools, but then some mixed reviews as you start getting in towards middle school and high school.
Correct.
Now, not to say that schools are good or bad, dive into them, do your own due diligence, but one of the things about Denver is that you are assigned a school for your area. Now you can apply to take your kid to a different school, but kids in that area will get top priority, and a lot of times you're not making it into that school. So just something to note there.
And there does have to be a reason, right? Because there is a lot of like kids that are trying to go to a different high school because they have better athletics, so they're trying to cut down on that a lot. There really has to be a reason as into like why you don't want your kid going to a certain school versus another. A lot of it has to do with maybe one school provides a certain class or something that you want your kid to be involved in that one school doesn't. But when you're looking at Denver public schools as a whole, there's not many classes that one school's teaching that another's not. But all things to consider, and we've got some links that we can put down below. We've shown you guys, we talk a lot, we're dads ourselves. We talk a lot about school districts and just where the value's at. If you're not a parent and the school districts don't necessarily matter to you, we talk about this as well, right? Putting your business hat on, your resale of your home. You know, you don't necessarily need to check every single box to be the most attractive house out there, right? Because there's a lot of great things about Denver, and Denver still sells extremely well, regardless of where they place as far as school districts. So it's not like you can't sell your home, but when you're in great school districts, it is a plus. And if you're a parent, well then obviously it's an even bigger plus as far as like where you're deciding to put your kids during the day.
All right, now our final point, let's talk recreation. Now when it comes to recreation, not only talking about community centers, pools, clubhouses, things like that,
definitely a great
in
point.
the suburbs, but also nightlife, restaurants, things to do, and places to go and have fun.
Right, well and obviously when you're in the heart of Denver, right, like as far as like awesome food, our food community, like our food culture, it literally feels like it's getting better by the month.
It does.
A lot of great things that are happening down there. So when it comes to like your nightlife, it's getting even better. When it comes to your food, it's getting even better. We've got all of your professional sports teams that are here. They're all right in the heart of Denver. So your commute to driving there, you could probably just take public transportation if you would like. But the thing that you don't have as much of is like what you do have in the suburbs when it comes to community centers and pools. And South Shore, for example, you've got 2 large lake houses with pools, with little workout areas. It's great for kids to have somewhere to go during the summer. It's great for adults to go. You can also rent those places out if you're having a birthday party and you don't want everybody at your house. You've also got places like Trails Rec Center, which is just off of just off of Orchard and Centennial. So it's like it covers us several zip codes, and you can pay $30 a month and you can go there. Out here in Southeast Aurora, they also have a new modern YMCA that's open, so a lot of kids can, they do. It's just down the street, really cool. So when it comes to like just all those resources, and I would say like Denver and suburbia, like what they do have in common is Denver, just Colorado as a whole, is very active. So if you're not necessarily needing recreation centers or places for kids to go and have some fun with that are owned and operated by the HOAs or whatnot, but you need to work out, a lot of people are super active when it comes to Colorado. That's something that's definitely across the board. You can find a gym in the heart of Denver, and you can definitely find a gym out in the suburbs. None of that's ever hard. And I would say the culture between in the city and then when you're out in the suburbs, you still feel like you've got like that Colorado feel.
Now, regardless if you're planning on living in the city or the suburbs, there is one more ultra important decision you need to make.
No brainer. Call that number that's popping back up below with our reminder that yes, we are licensed brokers here in the state of Colorado. And yes, just as much as we love making these videos, we will have more to help you with those real estate needs. So that number that is still up below, we are the guys who answer the phone calls, text messages, and those emails. So if we can help you, we would love to. But with that being said, you guys enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend. And we will see you guys very soon.
That's right. See you guys.